was beautiful to look at, like the cinematography.
Oh yeah.
Like they got great shots,
like
colors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop, dog. Stop. I know what.
We being sincere. This is what we like.
I know. But I'm just like, I can't help how it sounds. When the niggas start saying, yo, the colors.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the Reviewing That show, y'all. It's that actor guy, Mr. Bats in the building. What's popping?
It's your favorite host, Marty here. MARTY Edwards 504 on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat chat.
Is your favorite host DC Paul, the millennial Arsenio? Yeah, whoisDCPaul.com and whoisDCPaul on all social media networks. And I'm here to review that show.
Yeah, we in there reviewing that, bro. We reviewing that. We reviewing Coming to America today.
Mm-hmm.
It's got I know it got my timelines going nuts. It's like almost all that anybody's talking about.
Is it skewing more positive or negative, or is it somewhere in the
middle? It's back and forth because it's a little bit all over the place.
It's in the middle. Okay.
Yeah, it's back and forth.
Right in the middle, son. It's
I mean,
is it a generational thing?
You know what's funny is people who like it, people who didn't like it, people who like it who mad at the people who didn't like it, people who didn't like it who mad at the folk who like won't let them not like it. It's more than just people liking it and disliking it. It's conversations.
What's your first initial thoughts and feelings on Coming to America? Coming to number 2, America.
Coming to number 2.
Yeah, man.
I enjoyed it, but I did not love it. I liked it, but I didn't like it because it was a perfect film that had nothing wrong that I couldn't overlook. And I hated the ending.
We gonna get to that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What he hates about the ending is not what you most likely think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I can guarantee you it's not about the woman becoming queen.
But also that was...
we gonna get to it, but you know, that's not what you're specifically talking about. What you saying, Marty?
Fair enough. I should have went first. I agree with you. I did not. I like this one. I didn't love it, and I was just head over heels in love with the first one. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of how I feel about, I liked it. You know, even on the second viewing, I found more things that I really, really enjoyed. But overall, it was just, you know, I lowered my expectations. I felt like you can't make I don't know. I feel like you can't set out to make a classic based off of another classic. Mm-hmm. I just feel like that's kind of almost impossible. You know what I'm saying? And that's sort of where my expectations were when I first heard the idea. But as more time went on, I just sort of lowered them because I just figured they couldn't do that. But in terms of what they were able to put together, I enjoyed it.
What they were able to put
together.
What they were able to do with what they
with the stuff that they had and the things that they did. You know.
It's a couple of things that you bring up there. One is when you said you can't set out to make a classic based off another classic. And it makes me think of one of the pitfalls of the movie, and we're going to get into all that later, but it just made me think of one of the pitfalls of the movie is... It's one of the charms and the pitfalls at the same time.
Okay.
One of the charms is some of the callbacks. You know what I mean? And if you are a fan of the last movie, you're going to see a lot of callbacks. One of the pitfalls is it seems like it hinges a lot of its comedy and story on the callbacks instead of crafting their own narrative. You feel me? I think Best Man 2 did it better.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? We had the callbacks, but they still brought forth something new to the table. So it was able to
lose the authenticity of it. It didn't rely on the predecessor,
but it still shouted them out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things of like, so it's not like we've not seen it done. We saw it directly done. It's the same situation. An old title went back, made a sequel that we weren't necessarily.
I forgot about the Best Man sequel. That's a perfect way to give a classic a sequel. That was a good one. And then that was a holiday movie.
It was a holiday movie. So they was able to flip a bunch of ways and make it different in a bunch of ways, dog. But like,
it's overlooked.
Like, so that when you bring it up, that's what you make me think about. But also, you also bring up Coming to America Part 1. And that should have been my first question to y'all of like, where y'all, like, how did that movie affect you? Because I was telling DC off mic, I didn't grow up with Coming to America 1. That's
really?
funny. I'm black and black. I done seen the majority of the classics, but I gave it a chance late in life. Like I probably was maybe in high school by the time I finally saw Coming to America for real, and I liked it.
Right,
but
right.
that's a different foundation than someone who grew up with it since they was 6, 7, 8, 12, watched every time it came on USA or TNT or BET. You know what I mean?
Coming to America, that was one of the first VHSs that we owned, and we had a VCR player before everybody else on the block. So they would come to our house to watch a new Eddie Murphy movie, Coming to America. And I mean, I done a Randy Watson scene on stage at class night. I can pretty much quote the movie from beginning to end.
And it's iconic like that in black families. That's why I said I know I'm weird about, like, I'm the anomaly as being a black dude that
say that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm the anomaly there. So, but that's also why my expectations were naturally lower than most people's. I think I didn't go in with that bias of they better get this right, they better get, because even if you didn't have it that you said out loud, it's still naturally there when you're seeing a sequel from something beloved from your nostalgic life, your childhood. Yeah. So it's like I went in kind of more objective. So but I still echo y'all sentiments though. It's like.
Yeah,
I don't love it, but I don't hate it, and I see the flaws, but the flaws aren't so bad that, because there's some movies that are so flawed that I can't watch the motherfucker. I can't enjoy it. I can't like nothing about it. It's like, I don't want to sit through this again. And that's not what was happening. Like DC said, I was entertained. Even if it's not something I'm a, say, hey, you gotta guess this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I still was entertained, but like, I can't help I also can't help but the fact of, I like me and DC was talking about this before. Two things. One, I'm an artist, so I'm gonna have my own artist gaze about it. Whether I'm looking at it as a writer or as an actor or as a director myself, a piece of me can't help but if there's technical flaws with anything, I'm going to see technical flaws. I'm not going to watch it trying to nitpick those things, but it's almost impossible for me to even watch it with my consumer eyes and not see if a plot hole happened. You know what I mean?
And be affected by it.
In some way. Now, I will forgive it because I think one big thing is gauging your expectations. I don't go in, I'll put on Lil Wayne expecting to hear Kendrick Lamar. You feel me? Some people went in this motherfucker and went into a PG-13 sequel of 30 years later expecting the 1980s rated R film. You can't do that, and that's where you're going to be fucked from the beginning, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, you didn't have to make it the rated R movie in 2021, but there's some things they could have did to hold on to the authenticity of the original.
True.
Or even if they would have kept it R, they wouldn't have made a family movie. And them making it a family movie, I think, took away a lot from what made the original so magical. And I mean, again, there's some things I love about the movie, like it proving how powerful and talented Eddie Murphy is, and I mean the costumes and hair, the melanin all up and through the thing, you know, the legends we saw in the movie.
And that's the part I gotta throw too. I'm gonna have a black bias in watching this.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's gonna be skewed toward the positive.
Through the positive, right. I want to say something about what you said of he made a family movie.
Yeah.
Coming to America was not that.
Nope.
And
say so.
So when you go into it, you gotta take that in. That's a very good point. You feel what I'm saying? The first movie was just meant to be a comedy, a black comedy, or just a comedy. You know what I'm saying? And a raunchy comedy. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't meant to be for the kids.
Right.
Yeah. This was, like you said, it feels like this is where Eddie Murphy is now in his life. Mm-hmm. That was made 30 years ago. That was that Eddie's perspective.
I don't know how old his children were at that time, but now at this, he got a child that's in the movie. So
come on,
he has a different perspective.
Yes, and I feel like even some of the jokes is like dad jokes. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying about the movie. It's like, this is a corny ass movie, but it's a likable corny ass movie.
Yeah.
It's really dad jokes. That's what the deal is. We went from raunchy jokes of like some
the movie matured in those 30 years and came out with the sequel.
No, the person matured.
The person with it, yeah, fair enough. But it's like just the whole energy, everything was different. Like you mentioned that now, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was too young to be watching this when I watched it. Bro, okay.
Samuel Jackson
by himself
in the first movie dropped so many F-bombs in that McDowell's
in one scene.
In that one scene.
Anybody move, I'll blow your fucking head off. What are you looking at, buddy?
It would be wise for you to put the weapon down.
Who the fuck is this asshole?
Please refrain from using any further obscenities in the presence of these people.
What?
I've warned you. I'll be forced to thrash you.
Fuck you.
And he dropped so many F-bombs, he ain't bringing back for the second movie.
They couldn't. But I remember going to the video store with my cousins and my aunt. And I remember us renting Coming to America, like right when it first came out on VHS. And we went over to their house in the East, and we sat down and we watched it. And we would maybe get like 10 minutes into it. I would even argue to say maybe not even 5 minutes into it. Because immediately at the bathing scene in the very beginning, my aunt walks in and shuts the movie off. And when my uncle comes home, he tells him, they had naked people on it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I've seen this movie already.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to the good part.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, so we had to watch fucking Care Bears or some shit. But it's just like that, like thinking back on that, it's like, oh yeah, you really were just a little too young to be watching this.
And this was for everyone.
It's a whole different feel. Like they know the kids are gonna try to watch this.
There was no F-bombs in this one.
Dude, it's PG. Like it's PG-13, but you know, it's kind of PG compared to the 80s.
A couple of Leslie Jones's scenes and lines were a little adult.
As close to the line as you could probably
But it's like
get.
what you first said. You can easily watch this with your preteen kids. And
You wouldn't have to explain too much. Like, what's that? Well,
or cover eyes or ears.
Question: did y'all notice? Do y'all watch the bloopers at the end? Right? Do y'all get the impression from like that little clip that we got of Morgan Freeman's speech where he actually said nobody fucked anymore, but in the actual movie it says nobody had sex anymore? Do you think there's like a raw cut of this somewhere, like an R-rated cut, like what alternate takes
with all of those people in this film?
Me too.
It would be amazing if there was an R-rated take that he's just waiting to drop.
That's what
I don't think so
either.
either, but
yeah,
that would be smart.
I feel like he has it in his boat somewhere.
That would be so smart.
That would be the version that gets released on Blu-ray and DVD. Is the alternate version.
But what if? But when I'm looking at this whole story, this was even like the story itself was even some family-oriented shit.
Yeah, it was.
So I feel like anything that exists like that would be the actors riffing. They might not have it in any. Like, it's not like an R-rated story could have come from this.
No. But I mean, a few scenes were.
They're gone. That's what I feel. I feel like there's some what you're saying, alternate scenes of an actor just, especially something like a Morgan Freeman, like a Wesley Snipes, like you know what I mean, just going in. But
some more dirty content.
Some dirty content. I feel like there's dirty content, but. Is it enough to make a whole another version?
You can do the same movie. Just give us
a dirty version. Just give us those slight tweaks.
Give me some fucks and a couple niggas. I ain't heard no niggas in the movie.
Yeah.
Give me a couple niggas.
A lot of niggas in the movie too.
Yeah, I want to hear it like one.
Niggas all up through the movie. I can hear one of them. Shit.
So, this movie itself, story-wise, it felt like a movie out of time for me. It didn't feel like a 2021 movie. It felt like a 2010 or 2005 movie.
Man, you feel me? I think that the movie... I kind of agree, kind of disagree with that because the movie is so many times said, we're in 2021 now. So many times it said that, like when they went to barbershop, he was like, I got a granddaughter, used to be a grandson. They can turn his penis into a vagina now.
Yeah, those story structure.
Sure,
you know what I mean? The whole level of, you know what I mean? Because it's basically the Fresh Prince of Zamunda, you know what I mean? The whole fresh out of the water kick. And my nigga was trying for some Will Smithisms. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I saw the Will Smith that he was going for at times. But and it's like, you know, he comes there, he has the little jokes, and I'm so black, and we got to show our blackness, our extra, and it's I'm so black, I'm too black for this royal shit, and now he got to figure out how to be more esteemed, but then he realized he could just be his own natural self.
How many movies is that the point of it?
Bro,
just be yourself.
all through the 90s and 2000s, especially the black version of that, because that goes back decades, period. But the black version of
we gotta teach the
kids.
How
would you say?
That's what the original Coming to America was about. Like, because Simi, instead of going in, Akeem, instead of going into this arranged marriage, decided to follow his heart and find true love, and then he changed the traditions of Zamunda.
Yeah,
so
that's the movie. They're telling us the same movie again, and they're not even ashamed of it, and that's fine because they
make fun of themselves.
They made
in the same breath.
Yeah, because they had the nerve to crack that joke about not making sequels.
I know.
But like, I'm still saying they made a reboot at the same time as making a sequel. Because if you just put this off of somebody and say this part one, little kid, like Lion King, this is the Lion King Coming to America remake.
A child watching this for the first time could just enjoy the original story
this
without,
story.
Yeah, without seeing the
First
the
one.
original movie. I think so.
And they just have their own jokes, and they won't get none of the things we get, and they just gonna rock with it. But
I
like,
think they have better movies they can watch now.
there is, but there's also worse. Because that's one of the things I was saying too, dog. Like, oftentimes we don't we judge our movies hard. It's like if it's not all things black to all people, it's trash movie. It's whack. Don't watch it. And I'm like, there's no piece of art that can do that, and we don't do that to our white counterparts. Adam Sandler wouldn't have a career, motherfucker, if every one of his movies was judged to the utmost esteem of Citizen Kane or fucking, you know what I mean, Godfather. You heard me?
Right.
But for whatever reason, black people oftentimes we do that. We do that to our movies. You heard me? If the movie just cool, it's trash. No, it was cool. You know what I mean? I think we can put out cool shit, yeah, dog. And like, I wish we weren't that hard on ourselves about it, man.
I remember people used to say it was cool for what it was. You know, some shit could just be cool for what it is.
And
like this movie being cool for what
it
was.
is. And I can't, and there's so many sides of it. It's okay. It's the level of not want to judge it so hard, like giving it the guilty before it's proven innocent, you know what I mean, off the dump. Because sometimes we go in thinking it's going to be bad. But then on the other side, I don't want to come and coddle our films because then, you know what I mean, our shit ain't going to be as good as it can be. You know what I mean?
So much we do that to black films, but a lot of black people consume a lot of black art, or at least art that is marketed toward them. So you kind of have your own bit of expertise about black films. You've seen so many of them. You're able to criticize and say what you didn't like about this latest one. You know, now I don't think just because it wasn't the best one you've seen makes it trash.
I think that needs to stop in general. I feel like we need better vocabulary and expressing and explaining what we like and what we don't like about our art. Because when people jump to the notion of trash, it just throws it all away. And also we need to
understand the current language. You know, people use hyperboles like that. You know, like people say trash when really what you meant was it wasn't your favorite.
But I think we need. I think certain hyperboles I fuck with and certain ones we need to do away with.
Yeah, because
that's so extreme.
Some of them are absolutes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like, like, come on now, that ain't trash.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's my point, dog. Like when it's an absolute in hyperbole, it does way more damage because if a nigga just sell your movie trash, you won't even watch it half the time, and it might have something for it for you.
And niggas could just say like, you know what? I didn't care for this, and that, but it was cool. It wasn't as good as the original.
And some shit just not your cup of tea, and you could be like, it's not my cup, but you might fuck with it.
Or even like, my girl laughed at it, you know. So that means it's funny.
Yeah.
Somebody thinks
shit. I didn't laugh, but I was in a room with people laughing. That says something.
You, like I said, we need better vocabulary to explain, man, because I can't call this movie trash, nor will I say it's fire, because like I said, that's been the conversation. They got the people who apparently love it. There's the people who seem to only love it because people hate it. There's the people who claim to hate it. The other people who only claim to hate it because there's other people who like it. And there's the people that's just like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, it ain't gotta be that deep for this. Like, this ain't even that deep, bitch.
You know, I mean, I feel like a lot of people walked in with their investments from the first movie.
True. And this movie wouldn't exist without the first movie and everybody's expectations after the first one, because the first one was a classic. So you can't act like you can't say
it's hard to follow up from a classic.
Yeah, you can't say watch it without those expectations because
right.
I'm not saying watch it without the expectation. What you about to say?
No, I was you can't, but we should. That's all. We can, but we should.
I'm not saying watch it without those expectations as much as don't be so quick to jump to the negative on our shit. I think that's the flag I'm waving. You know what I mean? Because the same people who have a problem with it, I would still invite to be like, what's some shit you like? Mm-hmm. Let's start there. Before we get to shit that we don't like about this movie, what's some shit you like?
It was cute.
It was cute. That's the word I've been using too, and it's not even my vocabulary, but I have no other word for it. That was cute.
It was cute. It was good for the family.
Yeah.
I laughed a lot.
That's the thing. It had some laughs.
I laughed. I ain't saying it was unfunny.
It didn't tickle my raunchy funny bone, but it tickled a funny bone a couple times.
Yeah.
I said the costumes and
beautiful costumes, beautiful costumes, especially when we was in Zamoon.
Beautiful gowns.
Yes. Okay.
Beautiful, but we mean that sincerely. Like I think she did too, and she said it honestly. Beautiful gowns.
I like the de-aging technology.
Genetics.
That was used.
Yeah, it was dope.
Genetics? No.
I'm kidding.
I mean, for the flashbacks.
I like
I'm
Arsenio's.
kidding.
I just like that it was used.
Oh, really? You didn't like Eddie's?
Fuck no.
Oh,
but that we're not on the
wow.
negative. Positive.
I liked what's his name? We talked.
Who? You don't even remember the man's
That
name?
guy?
Jermaine
Johnson?
Fowler.
Yeah, this is his name,
Jermaine
Jermaine Fowler, yeah.
Jermaine Fowler. Yeah, I liked him a lot in this. This is I've only really liked him in like two things, but I was like, he really.
I've only
won me over
seen
this
him in
one.
like two things.
Yeah. Okay. Word. I've only
Like,
fair enough.
It's one of those other things. Sorry to bother you.
Yeah. Sorry
Okay.
about that. I liked him in that a lot.
Question
Is the other thing that episode of RuPaul's Drag Race? Did y'all see him in that?
I didn't see him.
Really?
Okay.
Seriously? No, I didn't. There's there's something else. I had to look it up the last time. But there's only one other thing I seen him in that I didn't like.
Okay.
But
There's elements about his performance I liked.
I like Leslie Jones a lot.
I dug Leslie Jones in this. And people often give her a lot of bullshit.
The whole I dug. Okay, I don't know if I can go into this, but I dug the moment when we're at, I guess, the wedding party after he's passed like the prince's exam or test and all that stuff, and like all the family members are kind of getting together, like Simi and Tracy Morgan are kind of getting together. Leslie Jones and Sherry Headley are kind of bonding.
You good at these names.
Yeah. And then I dug that moment, like all that stuff like worked. I was like, well, you know what? Most times for me it's like sometimes you can finish really strong and have like a hard take off, but it's like as long as you can finish really strong, like I dug sort of the actors and the chemistry that they had with everyone.
I dug the chemistry between the actors, especially Fowler and Eddie Murphy had really great chemistry. Leslie had great chemistry with everybody. I felt like this movie played to a lot of her comedic beats well.
Yeah, agreed.
I'll agree with that. Well, I like that Tracy Morgan is still working after such an accident that left him paralyzed and possibly not able to work for a while.
This ain't even the first thing he's done since then.
It's not the first thing he's done. No, I'm just saying that just seeing him still working.
And that's one reason why I like seeing a lot of these people, honestly. Like most of the cameos and most of the people we saw, I was just happy to see black greats just on my screen.
Absolutely.
That I was just great. I was like,
I love seeing Lunel.
Lunel popped up.
I was like, man.
Like, so I was like,
had more
some
for them
people
to do.
didn't like the cameos, but I was a fan of the cameos.
I
honestly.
like all the cameos.
I like the cameos given what I realized what this movie was trying to be.
Right.
When I was like, if I was to look at this movie as something fresh, no, because that's another thing I said off mic, dog. Like the first movie was a lot more sincere. This was a lot more self-aware, and this movie is so self-aware that it has all these cameos. You know what I'm saying?
But
and
these in the original movie, they weren't cameos. These were just actors getting roles.
And that's what I'm saying. But
that's the difference.
But that's the difference for me. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying. When I look at all these cameos, I don't count it against the movie because this movie already over the top is telling me we're more concerned with celebrating the last movie than with being a new thing.
But some of those cameos, all right.
So you know what I mean. So that celebration of cameos is why, and they use it as a joke later to set up their big quote unquote Randy Watson cameo in the end. So it's almost like, oh, you were kind of trolling us with these cameos anyway to set up for your final joke. So okay. Also, in story, we're not going negative. Your face looks negative.
No. I don't know what he doesn't like about the ending, but I want to say that I thought that Randy Watson's entrance at the end was on point. It was perfect. That wasn't it? Okay.
I thought
that was the most.
Okay, he was saying positive things.
Real positive.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
not on the negative.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no.
So he was saying Randy Watson's entrance was great.
I love
thought it
seeing
was
Randy
great.
again. That was one of the callbacks that I enjoyed.
Me too.
Another
Yeah,
callback
exactly.
that I enjoyed was
Perfect.
the subtle one of him mopping when he had that scene with
Yeah,
John Amos. I
that
fucked
was-
with that callback
yes,
more than most of the callbacks. That was one of my favorite ones because it was way more subtle instead of like beating me over the head with, hey, remember Coming to America
Right,
1?
right,
You know what I mean?
exactly. That was, there were a few of those that were real subtle, like at the very end, kind of when Randy Watson was performing and he turns to his new queen and he has something like you know, give all this up, and she's like, nah, which is exactly what Lisa said at the end of the very last movie, which is a subtle callback.
Yep,
you
it's
know,
smooth.
You
It's
had to
smooth.
know the movie like that to know that. So those callbacks and cameos, so to speak, I really love.
I like the Trevor Noah cameo.
I did too.
Yeah.
But and that one actually
Forgot
made
about that
sense
one.
by comparison to a lot of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
indeed. I like the Michael Blackson cameo.
yep, that's another one that made sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
it made sense for me because they had a lot of up and coming comedians in the first one just doing one lines and stuff like that.
You know what?
and I laughed out loud at Rick Ross, even though it was for the wrong reasons.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, man, that was the one time where I
Rick
just
Ross.
yelled out, "Just kill him! Just get him out! Get him out of here! He's terrible."
Watching him struggle with that African accent made my night.
Oh my God! I can't believe they left it in. I would have told Rick Ross, "I'm sorry,
I know, me
but
too,
you're
me
on
too.
the cutting room
Me
floor."
too.
Hell no!
Thank you for use of your home.
Thank you, mate.
General Easy, we have just been informed King Akeem has returned from America with a son.
Remember that big funeral scene? Now that was hilarious. How James Earl Jones wanted his funeral before he died, while he still was alive,
beautiful.
so he could die at the funeral. And that's what a lot of these big cameos happen. But under the context of it, we're about to send off the king of Zamunda, this big kingdom. Yeah, you gonna have Salt and Pepper and Gladys Knight and all them people there, man. Like on that pretense, I'm gonna give them that, bro.
Was there a problem with them having Salt and Pepper and In Vogue?
Some people felt like we're gonna get to when we get to the negative,
Okay,
but some
okay.
people had problems with the cameos, it being a cameo heavy joint. And I'm saying, in that moment, look at him shaking. He's really.
No, I'm sorry.
I was thinking CDC on the audio.
Okay.
But under the pretense of if this is this huge funeral for this great king, I'll give those special guests a reason because within your story you made that make sense. Yeah. So and I love that whole scene. I thought that was a cool scene. And that's another thing too. Some people had problems with the musical numbers. I didn't. I think maybe going back to my Spike Lee watching or some shit, I have no problem with seeing black people singing and dancing.
I love it. I
You
love
feel
a
me?
musical. I'm a musical theater kid. You know? I love a musical.
I love seeing the fucking like the step show type aesthetics of black culture being thrown in.
Yes.
I love the choreography and all that. I'm thinking, some bliggity black shit. Because
like-
anytime we're throwing out culture in motherfuckers' face and we're being unapologetic about it, I'm always gonna raise the fist.
Okay.
I like that the black woman at the end singing "To Be Loved." She was apparently one of the contestants or winners of Sunday's Best.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't know
that I really liked.
Okay, cool. I
He's
agree.
going in his brain thinking about what
I was
music
going through all
he
the
liked.
musical numbers, and that's one of the likes.
I love Wesley Snipes. I love the Wesley Snipes.
all
in this movie.
his entrances was musical numbers. He came in with a whole fraternity full of niggas doing
And
bad.
that's what we get it, baby.
Like, are y'all fighters or
Come on,
like
man.
a dance troupe?
Prince Akeem. Well, look at you.
Son,
I said.
Chirac, Dolomite in this has me looking at Wesley Snipes on a comedic level of just he seems to be having so much fun in the twilight of his
But
career.
also, I remember him doing stuff like Tu Wong Fu. So even though
But then he
had set
stopped.
himself up, well, yeah. But I feel like for me, him doing that was enough because he had already set himself up as a big macho action star. And then this is him him not taking himself super seriously
And
doing so well at it.
Yes, and that's my whole thing because we got glimpses of his comedic chops in the past, but then he really became you either know him for the serious Wesley Snipes actor or the serious action star. He was like stone faced, mean mug,
Either
for like
Blade or
just random shit. You know what I mean? I love him in the one with Sylvester Stallone, the Demolition Man. Like that was a night.
Right.
You feel me? But
Yeah, I love him in that too.
before decades, he was Wesley Snipes. So, like you just said, to see him not taking himself.
some prison time. Now he ain't kill no more.
Ain't that serious? Ain't that serious, baby?
I enjoyed seeing Fancy again, being the leader of the
Oh,
Rose
Gustave
Barons.
Beauvais, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
and
enjoyed
she
it.
remained beautiful. It ain't like she even fell out of the spotlight. She's currently on one of these housewife shows, I think.
word.
Yeah, she's still on, and she has a podcast.
Yeah.
she
still
keeps
relevant.
herself.
Oh wait, pause! I can't believe I forgot my favorite. The oldest daughter, Mika, gorgeous, fierce ass.
Oh yeah,
her man.
yeah, her. Eddie
Oh,
Murphy's
Kiki
daughter
Lane
was
is her
the-
name.
the-
Kiki Lane. I know that actor name. I learned hers. Kiki Lane. You heard me? She killed it. She killed it in every way.
I'm trying to think of something more. If I have any other positive things before I jump to all the other thoughts I have.
All the other thoughts.
We just call them disconnects.
Fair enough.
Because that's a great way to put a disconnect. Because I want to just speak on the level of criticism, dog. I
Okay.
think there's a difference between The difference between hating on something to me and giving it an actual critique is one, where you're coming from with it. You know what I mean? Are you coming from a place of like genuine, I want to love it, but I might have had a disconnect. Or I have a freaking degree, or I got an experience, or like I know this topic enough that, okay, I'm literally giving it a critique based off of this is how it came through my lens. Because some people have merit. If you've directed a bunch of films, or if you got this and that, you know what I mean? Your critique is actual a critique.
Well, I think everybody's critique has merit. It just comes from a different lens. But even if you are not an expert or haven't consumed a whole lot of black art, but you're a consumer, period, this is made for you. You know, so like...
That's a different thing, but that's true. But I'm going to just say this about hating. To me, hating is when you just being contrary for the fuck of it. You already was expecting not to like it, so you already had a lens of negativity. So you just think you're watching it with the lens of just trying to prove yourself right about it being shitty.
Even,
you know what I mean?
You know, you didn't like Eddie Murphy or any movies.
You already have vendettas or biases against the people
like,
from
I never
jump.
liked Eddie Murphy movie. Okay, well, you can go into this one thinking, you know, I told you I hate Eddie Murphy movies.
See? Or nothing that you're saying even can even help the movie. Or some people come with their negatives because what they thought it should be, it isn't, so now they mad. And it's like, well, but what about what it is? Or what they want to do is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You feel me? So yes, we can get into all our other thoughts like disconnects or where things may have lost us or et cetera, et cetera. What y'all talking about, man? Because of course the thing ain't nothing perfect, you know what I mean?
I felt like, okay, so there's a different like sort of pace and tone to the original movie, which
pace is a funny word here. That's a word, pace.
Like I know that this film intended to kind of go this pace or this race, you know, in terms of how they hit you with everything. But like I felt like there was just so much time taken in the beginning, and this time we just kind of hitting everything. We just touching it. Like, hey, you remember this? Cool. Remember that girl used to hop around the barker bird? Okay, cool. There she is. Boom, bang, there she's gone now. All right, now we about to go Wesley Snipes. He about to walk in like a pimp. I don't know. I wanted it. I felt like it could have used like maybe, I don't know, 30 more minutes, 20 more minutes to kind of take its time and kind of work through a couple of things.
I wonder if that was
start off there.
And I wonder if that was the edit or if that was the script. Because, you know, sometimes the script was just written that tight, or sometimes they might have had 30 more minutes, but they thought they needed to cut it down or whatever. Because that's, like I said, I watched this the first time DC came through, and that was one of the main things he was even saying. As I watched this, like, things just kept... Like, we learned this, like you just said, everything happened so fucking fast.
And that barbershop is the source of all information, ain't it?
But that was a perfect example. Like, in the barbershop, they walked in. Them niggas, them old ass men didn't even take a second to think. They instantly remembered him from 30 years ago. Right. They instantly knew where to find his son. They instantly knew, like, everything just happens like, whoa, like, it was...
Then when he came back to the barbershop, he asked the dudes if he had seen his son. Yeah, he was here today with some girl. She wanted to get a job. Here. Oh, yeah, they finna get married. You know where? Yeah, over there. Like, come on, bro.
Dude.
New York City is not that small,
dude,
bro.
They had the coincidences on coincidences, boy.
That's what I was thinking. I was telling myself that, but I'm like, I don't know.
And certain shit, and I'm going to say this too before we get too deep in the sauce.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Certain shit we do forgive for comedic license.
Okay, yeah.
The tone of this, it don't take itself that seriously. Nope. That's why when we watch this, we're still entertained because it didn't give us a reason to take any of that too seriously.
But he talking about the pace.
But no, you're right. But when it comes to pace, that's the truth.
Which made us disconnected from
No. I'm not taking nothing away from. I agree with everything you're saying, but I just want to throw that caveat in there of like this is a comedy because we brought the thing about the African nations and Africans being mad, and one of the main things people were saying was, "Loud, yo, this is a comedy."
Well, but even for the original one, there were like Pan-African and African people who were offended by the way that, I mean, some people were proud to see African depicted in such an opulent, beautiful country, but there were some people. There were people who downright didn't like the movie, and for multiple reasons.
And I feel like they have merit. But the only thing that I'm saying is this: all those people you had all those years and all those decades to feel that way about Coming to America 1, why the fuck you gonna even put on Come to America too?
No.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Like in the first movie, maybe they never actually shot a frame in Africa, but I felt like we were in Africa. You know what I'm saying? This every step of the way felt like Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like at no point did I ever feel like we had crossed any borders and gone to any foreign
Even the scene
lands.
with the zebras and the lions. That was definitely
like,
Carol
this is a
Baskin.
zoo.
This Carol Baskin.
But yeah, but no, like that's
It felt like
literally-
It felt like an Eddie Tyler Perry movie on some shit
It
though.
certainly felt.
It
Oh
did.
man.
This felt like a
Speaking
better
of-
Tyler Perry movie, but it had some Tyler Perryisms about
Yes,
it that I
indeed,
can't lie
it
about.
did. And speaking of Tyler Perry isms, so disconnects. Most of the musical numbers for me were disconnected. I get why you would have Gladys Knight and Salt and Pepper and En Vogue performing, because that's also a callback to the time. Like they were possibly some of the biggest stars
Of that time, too.
When the first movie came out,
Yeah.
you know, the updated lyrics, like Gladys Knight singing "Leaving on the Midnight Train" to
The moon.
I felt like took away from the regal classiness of having Gladys Knight in your movie, bro. And I was like,
But that's more of
yeah, I
them
know.
telling
It's
me
more,
it's
it's more,
silly
it's more
ass
slapstick.
movie.
It's more slapstick.
It's silly shit.
And speaking of musical numbers, musical numbers, bro. When he joined in the song with Tiana Taylor,
He did have to. That's when he crossed the line.
like,
Of course.
now it's High School Musical. That's what we watching.
Cause son, truthfully, son,
And I like musicals, yeah, I do. I love School Days, one of my favorite movies.
son, when you said when I first saw your boy hit that was Prince song.
That's a Prince song.
Okay, so I was so joked out at the old African man hitting the high notes. That was slapstick. I was joked. I laughed out loud
That
at
was
the
funny.
nerve of this old.
That
nigga
was
hitting
funny
it.
because
You feel
that
me?
was another callback. You thought he was finna hit the She's Your Queen.
Yeah, it was the same
but
thing.
Then he goes into something else that was like, okay, shit.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
but then-
and then even Tiana singing was a little corny, but you know what? I'll accept it. I'll allow it. But you're absolutely
That's
right.
Yeah.
Like I was right on the bridge when she started
that was
singing.
already
it.
like, y'all losing me. Like, y'all are finna lose me. And then when they
But
handed
when
the
he
microphone,
jumped to the mic, you're like, you fucked
Yo,
it.
now I'm totally disconnected.
But that was for the kids. That's one of those moments to me that's what reminds me.
Kids know the fucking song. She was talking about.
Hold on,
she
I got
said 23 positions in a one night stand. That was not for the kids.
I don't know, man.
DC just said, fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. Not for that scene. Now with pussy popping Tiana Taylor, that's not for them. She came out of a big old robe to reveal something very revealing. No.
This felt like a parody of Coming to America at certain points. When we go to Wesley Snipes' compound and those motherfuckers are on the fucking Dance
Playing
Dance
with shake
Revolution,
weights.
use all of them doing shake weights, bro. I'm like, this is like if the Wayans brothers got a hold of
I
Coming
thought
to
they were
America.
funny. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
thought they were funny.
All right, fair enough.
Hold on. Let's acknowledge that.
I understand it was corny though, but I thought it was funny.
It was too far.
Wesley's character, General Izzy, his country was called
Nextdoria.
Nextdoria because it was next door to Zamunda.
I'm with it. I'm with Steven.
I
I'm
never
with
caught
it.
that.
I'm with it.
So
Let's
Zamunda
go.
Wakanda Nextdoria.
Let's go.
But since you brought up this being like a Tyler Perry movie, I'm gonna talk about what I hated about the end of the movie.
Oh,
Give it to
please,
him.
yes.
Give it to him.
which was technically another musical number. It was the finale.
It has nothing to do with the story,
not-
bro.
Oh,
And
you're
not
talking about
Randy
John
Watson.
Legend?
No,
I'm talking
no.
about the Soul Train line, where they were at the wedding, all the characters.
The
that
classic
this is-
90s trope
Yes.
of the whole cast
just
having a big
like Soul
dance.
Food ended, so every character had a chance to come down the Soul Train line and do their thing, and then everybody
hated
came
it.
together and did the fucking electric slide
He hated
while
it.
Randy Watson was on the stage.
He hated it.
That's so Tyler Perry to me.
That's
You know,
so
that's
90s,
like how
2000s.
that's
to
how
me.
so many black movies in the 90s, 2000 ended with like everybody's like in the kitchen. Oh, turn that up, Big Mama.
And that's when I go back
everybody
to
dance through the kitchen like
this is going through the perspective of 50-some-year-old Eddie Murphy, dog.
no.
That's why that was the dad
No.
joke. This was the dad joke
Yeah,
coming
and
to
then
America.
that-
because even that scene, because that made me look at that when there's that scene where the eating the burger and the fake burger that was made of grass.
Uh-huh.
That to me is his 50-year-old perspective joke
They're like,
on.
oh,
That's how these
young
youngins
people,
are.
yeah, these young people are concerned with climate change.
That, you know what I mean? He had a few of those, and made me go, "Oh, this is your commentary, Eddie." So that was him not even realizing that that's not. That's the joke of the On Fleek. They had the On Fleek joke, which was funny. I thought it was funny.
I did not think that was
I thought it was funny. I liked a lot of the corny shit, I guess.
No.
But like the On Fleek joke happened. But that's the same thing. That's it personified.
That was pure
He
Eddie.
thinking On Fleek still popping with these dance numbers and shit, and it's not.
First of all, I saw the end coming with the oldest princess eventually becoming the crown princess.
So you were
queen.
here when I said it out loud at like minute 10. Like as soon as
yeah.
you see her be the strong black woman,
right.
you know, okay, she's gonna be the
Right.
queen. Oh, she's gonna be the queen. Then we knew.
You know, but the most cliche ending you could do is all the
dance.
characters
Still
doing
back to the
their
dance.
song.
Still back to the dance.
To a fucking electric slide.
He said,
I said, now you're playing with my intelligence, Eddie.
I accept the ABC ass story.
Yeah, bro.
But the
But
soul
goddamn
train.
it, Eddie, you better not end it with a fucking soul train. You did it, goddamn it.
Was I the only one who thought that the oldest daughter was like a part
Fine
of their
as
own?
fuck. Oh,
No.
Wait. Yeah.
No, but okay. That she was a part of the children's own personal Dora Milaje or whatever.
They did seem
because she
like
was
that.
she was dressed different than them. Like all of them were kind of, and she was like ready to go
All the time.
I'm like, yeah.
Did anybody else?
She was just a bad bitch, bro.
Detect
She was.
any low key sexual tension between her and
brother.
Lavelle's character?
Yeah.
I felt like they really needed to up the sexual tension between him and the barber because
Okay, now
because
let
it
me.
was almost like a Simba Nala moment when they were training for the thing and she was besting them.
Let me get into my disconnects then. Here, now we're into my disconnects. One, I did not believe that barber character would go for his ass. I did not believe that romance.
For them to get married
In 2 weeks, however long, for them to jump to marriage and all that, they did
He's-
I
not.
can see
He's
her
a
doing it
prince.
because she poor. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm like,
right.
he's a prince.
But you know what I'm saying? The personalities, I didn't feel them. Like you said, I felt him and his
fair
sister
enough.
more.
Yeah, they was
Chemistry-wise.
At some point they gonna kiss. I know.
Why you have to get married?
Like we moving to America, we need to get married right now.
Because that's the
It's 4
thing.
p.m. on a
Get you
Tuesday.
pregnant.
Because that's the thing. The marriage was
That's
because
what it is.
the marriage of Zamunda was because we unite in the kingdoms to get away from war.
And
Why is
Izzy
he-
had given him 1 week to do this before he did whatever. his
So
thing
that was the
right.
timetable of that marriage. Why are you forcing this marriage? You're American.
in Queens, right? You can get married anytime you
And you
want.
want. You just brought your lady from Zamunda. Why don't you and your lady just kick it in Queens? Why the fuck? Why are we rushing to a marriage aside from plot reasons?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair. You know, and I don't have an argument for that one.
No, me either. We talked about it. The pacing was a disconnect.
And that whole part is a disconnect for me, dog.
Yeah, I mean, he comes back to America, straight to Queens, straight to the barbershop. Like, hey, have you seen that boy? Wait, no, actually, when he came in, he said, hey, we heard you found your son. We all caught up already. What's up? I'm looking for him. Well, he was here today.
Let me give you a small one. Let me give you a small one, son. When the movie start, right, they show the kingdom, like, how and shit, right? And there's this part where they show different pictures of things that they have framed in their house. There's a framed picture of them two niggas from the barbershop. Now, if you haven't seen them niggas in 30 years, how do you have a framed picture of them how they look now in your house?
Right.
In your house. And them niggas acting like they have had no, like, so.
You're back. Because they was like, last time he was here.
30 years ago. Like, so many things did not develop on screen to say there was a 2-hour movie. When they got to that argument between the brother and the sister, he's like, I know you don't like me. When the fuck did we see her not like you, bro?
And when did
She said, I never said that out loud. And of course, she got up from the dinner table.
I just don't let her see she had, bro.
Okay.
Is that the only time?
And she didn't even look at him when she left.
She wasn't
No, I
very
looked at it
friendly
just now.
in the training montage.
She stood away. She didn't like give him no shit. She just was away. Like the way put like
I
this.
feel like she showed it. She never said it.
Yeah.
It's
but she
under.
did show
It's
it.
under. I didn't see it enough on my screen.
But I'm still.
It was an
agree.
There was an
There was a
underdeveloped.
whole lot of things that didn't.
I got a
develop
couple
on
though,
screen.
but that was underdeveloped. The next one, Tracy Morgan and Arsenio Hall, we're friends now.
Yeah.
Nigga, when?
Yeah,
What
when?
made y'all become friends? You just was giving them shit, and then all of a sudden you decided to be friends. The moms, It went from Lisa being like, "What the fuck this woman doing here?" and Leslie being fish out of water situation to Leslie rocking her dress that one time. So here's a gift. Now let's get drunk together. If anything, some should have made them get drunk together earlier. Then they build that chemistry. So then later, when she gifts her with something, it makes sense. I got to see it develop. There's so many of these things that I didn't get to see develop on screen. You just gave me the payoff and then tried to play catch up. And I'm like, no, that's not how any of this goes. Even Leslie Jones's character in general, dog, because they had to make a choice and they didn't make a full choice. When he decided to bring his mom, we needed more hijinks from her because she's part of the fish out of water shit. You feel me?
She's the two.
She's the two in Coming to America. Because that's the thing too, when you look at Best Man, right, the sequel, they knew how to keep all of their storylines and characters relevant.
Them properly, yep.
Yes. This one had this big cast of people, but people got lost in the sauce. You hear me? And it was like, well, we didn't need all these people if we're gonna get that lost in the sauce with it. You know what I'm saying? Jermaine Fowler. He's a cool lead to me, but from scene to scene, I don't know. It's like I like him in certain scenes. It's like one scene I look at and I'm like, man, like you did that, bro. And other scenes I'm like, okay, you're pushing, you're doing too much. Why are you yelling at me? And one question I had was, is he a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
Okay, because he has that vibe when he speaks sometimes. He speaks sometimes as if he's always setting up a joke. And sometimes that works, and sometimes that's charming for the movie character.
It's a comedy. I mean,
because we know this as students of the game, dog. Like most comedic stand-up comedians that become comedic actors, there's a certain, not even just comedic actors in general have a certain aesthetic, a certain character that they present when they're on screen. You feel me? Like one thing that people often gave Eddie was he knew who his was and he didn't defer from it too much in his early stages. Like he stayed strong. Like later on he was able to do the Norbits and the shit, but early in his career he was like, I have my I'm almost like a straight man that's funny or some shit because he always had his swag and his suaveness and his strong black madness, but he still was funny and shit. Like Chris Tucker, he allowed that. Like we know these different tropes. He seems like he's trying to find his. He don't know what it is fully yet, but he's trying to find it. Well, and I'm watching his development in this movie.
I think that his delivery and his energy is similar to what we saw in Sorry to Bother You. I think that he might have found it. It may just be a disconnect for you. Because to me, it seems. Okay. So
he's likable though.
Yeah.
See, that's the main thing that works for him.
I agree.
He's not annoying. He's a likable guy.
He's good looking. Okay. We look at him now. It's fairly symmetrical in the face.
That's a good looking woman that just popped up.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. You can't put him next to her and ask me to talk about beauty, bro.
You're right.
But keep going. What you say?
On screen, he looks good. You know, he does have that delivery. That's he does stand up and comedy a lot. And to me, that's the disconnect was when he was like the more emotional scenes. You know, him talking to the barber. You know, like. When she cut his thing off, and at first when he cut his, you know what I mean? Like that scene went from like A to Z so quick. I think that at one point they was giggling, and then he put the chair on. I was like, no, I'm tired of this. I was like, wait, didn't y'all just?
He had a few moments like that where he went from 0 to 100. I'm like, why are you yelling at me right now, bro? You did not build up. The last scene was like, no, Dad, fuck you, basically. Like, okay, calm down. When he first found out, he was like, you gotta get out of here. Like I was like, bro. When
the Africans first came to his mama house and they was like, we want to take you to Africa, he was like, no, I'm Jermaine Fowler, I'm my own man.
Like, bro.
And then the money falls out the briefcase. Oh, okay.
It's like it's like at times he falls into, and this is some like technical actory bullshit right here, right? In scripts, you'll see an exclamation point. And the rookie actor will think that anytime you see an exclamation point, that means to yell.
Yeah, right.
When really that exclamation point just means punch it with something. Yeah. You can punch it with being loud. That can work. But you can also, there's a quiet anger you can come with as well. Or maybe it's not even anger. There's so many ways they just want you to punch it with something. And I feel like he read exclamation point and he was like, it's time to go off. This is the part where they want me to get loud, y'all. Or like if it's time to be emotional, it's like he had this emotional. It's like I just see him still putting the leading man act together because it seems like he's been a sidekick on screen for a minute.
Yeah.
You feel me? So this was his time to get his lead man on, and he didn't do a bad job. It's just I can see I'm seeing he gonna grow into it.
Yeah.
If he gets more opportunities, and I hope he do, because I ain't gonna hate on no, nigga trying to get in there, you heard me? Eddie's still Eddie, man. He's still like great at what he does, dog. Like, I was excited to see that. The one part of my expectations did come from I really dug Dolomite. I think he did a great job in Dolomite. So if I had any expectations, it was hoping that he could recapture that magic and bring it to this. One thing that did stand out to me as this movie progressed, me watching it now a third time, is Prince Akeem a bitch.
Yeah. So
this all is about him being scared of Wesley. And Wesley just in your face disrespecting you the whole movie.
And
every time we see him.
I remember him being that kind of person in part one. Like he in the opening scene, him and Simi did have their little battle thing going.
Yeah.
He was backflipping.
Why you a bitch now?
Ass with it.
Yeah, but okay.
Why is Prince Akeem a bitch? Right. In the end, Wesley Snipes tried to kidnap his daughter, tried to kill his daughter in the fight, and then he get to be in the party dancing in the Soul Train like he was an enemy. But
him and his little backup dancers.
I would have enjoyed it more if him and Wesley had this passive aggressive speech with each other, where because Wesley had it. Wesley kept on telling him some underass shit.
But after a while, Wesley also said, like, I'm having to go back to plotting your death. He was saying that to his face, you know. But yeah, in the beginning, it was very like he said, better is to be tied by
blood in marriage than be divided by blood and war.
And war. And I wish if their chemistry would have been, they both say like underhanded shit to each other all the time. Like, and then we can
always ducking like,
because he just kept ducking. Right. And then maybe let's give his wife something to do in this movie. Maybe his wife is the voice of reason. Be like, nah, Keem, I know you want to go fight, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, cause she really had to say she was the queen of his world in the first movie. She was still a side plot device that just came up out of convenience to give him that speech he needed at the time he needed it. But for the most part, she didn't really do shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like maybe like we could have gave him some balls that was sometimes too big for his britches, and like maybe the women could have, because that would have been like a natural place to be, and that could have also give Leslie something to do. I don't know. There's a lot of things we could have got to do. And what if Wesley had a crush on Leslie? That would have been hilarious too. He would have been shooting his shot the whole movie.
Funny. So then as
and what them two getting married was the big wedding or something. That would have been funny, bro.
That would have been funny. Yeah. That's a part 3.
But I will say this, even with its flaws, there's something to be said for a black movie with black faces to not end in trauma or tragedy or negativity. We just got us a little cute, little corny movie. You know, I appreciate it for existing, man. I like having movies where we just on some positive kick. You feel me?
For what it was.
For what it was. You heard me? I do not want to say that you cannot critique, like you don't have to love everything black, but I still would always say give everything black a shot. We owe it to ourselves. We have decades of media that we're told is great because it's white. You feel me? I believe in the bias of black people to support things because they're black, because we have a lot of catching up to do. You feel me? A lot of these things that are supposedly great, it's only great because majority of white people own the shit, and they said it was great. And then they tell us that it's great, and now we have to accept that it's great. Well, we got a lot of great shit in our canon that should be heralded way more and more, but we didn't have the power positions to push it. I always bring up shit like Juice. I always bring up shit. Like, there's so much shit that I could just list off that's like, man, no, this is like great material that you can do hood shit like Godfather, and all Godfather and Goodfellas is white people hood shit, but that get to be classic. You feel me? So no, I'm gonna look at this shit and I'm gonna still have my gripes. I'm gonna still see the flaws. I'm gonna still see whatever's up with it, but I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm not gonna say it's trash. I'm not gonna tell fellow black people not to support it. You hear me? I think you do yourself a disservice not at least watching it to have your own opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Have your own opinion at the very least.
Do watch it.
Do watch it.
It was cute as fuck.
Yeah.
You really ain't so big.
Where the fuck those cheese? Where the mozzarella at? Tell me where it be. Yeah, I'm a fiend.